Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tiwa Lulua. If you are new here, you are welcome. On this channel, I started by talking about how I go into Imperial and the different processes that entail after your application. In this video, I'll be talking about how to make FX payments from Nigeria, like if you're paying for school. I am a Nigerian and I made most of my Imperial College school fees payment from Nigeria in Naira. And in this video, I know that a lot of people might not know, but there's a way that you can make these payments from Nigeria through the CBN, so you do not have to buy the black market. So you're welcome. If this is something that you're willing to learn about right before you start your applications, I think you should watch this video. So from Nigeria, you can make your payments in Naira through any commercial bank, and I would list a couple of ways that you can do that so that it's pretty easy for you. I think the first of the steps for me is to first build a relationship with your account officer. I used GTB Bank when I was back in Nigeria. This is not a sponsored video or anything. That was just the bank that I used for my payments, and so a lot of the advice that I'll be given would be majorly what I encountered using GTB Bank. I believe you should more or less work or should be the same process if you are using any other commercial bank in Nigeria. I called my account officer, I introduced myself. Oh, you should know me, my name is Tiwa. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I want to submit a Form A to the bank very soon. And it's like, yeah, sure. It told me a couple of things that I would need to do, and I did them. My account officer was in Ile-Ife because that was where I opened my bank account. However, I was living in Lagos by the time I wanted to make that particular payment. So first things first, build a relationship. Let your account officer be aware of the fact that you want to start to use, or you want to use a Form A for your payments. Next, walk into any commercial bank, any branch of the commercial bank that you want to use. Let's say for this instance, I'm going to be using GTB. I walk into any GTB branch close to me, and then I ask the officer like, oh, I want to make a Form A, or I want to get a Form A. They call it a Form A. However, please note that a Form A payment or a Form A payment can only be made from a current account. So that means you need to have the Naira in your current account or in a current account to make that payment. I think at this point, I would say that the advice that I would give, or the tips I would give in this video, will be based solely on my experience. It might be different. Maybe now, maybe a couple of other regulations might have come in place or anything that might have made this process maybe a bit different, but at the time I was making my payment, that was what obtained. So please confirm with your account officers before you start your payments. First things first, build a relationship with your account officer, and then walk into any branch and get a Form A. Usually they will give you two forms. One is an instructions form and another is the actual Form A. They won't make that payment from a savings account. If you do not have a current account, try to open one. And on the form they will give you to open a current account, you would be able to also open a DOM account by just ticking like the boxes for for DOM account. By DOM account, I mean a domiciliary account. A domiciliary account, I would advise you just open all of the currency, USD, Great British pounds or Great Britain pounds, and then the euro account. You can just open it all at once on one single form, and you can use the same number of references that you would normally have used if you open just the current account. So open a current account and try to open a domiciliary account. It might come in handy later, right? Once you have a current account, get your Form A from the bank. You can get it right there on that same day and fill it out right there and then, or you can take it home and fill it. To fill that form, you need a couple of things. First, you need your invoice from your school to make that payment. You would also need the sort code of the school. Obviously, on the invoice, you should have the school's account number, the sort code, the name of the bank, and then how much you need to pay. At the point of making that payment, you can ask at the bank what the current bank rate is. So let's say, for instance, you want to pay pounds. At the time when I made payment, I think pounds at the bank was around 570 something pounds to a Naira. And obviously it was over 700 at the black market. So I would advise you, please don't buy in black market. If you want to pay school fees, this payment is for school fees, meaning CBN will pay your school directly your school fees, right? You can ask them that, oh guys, how much is the current exchange rate? They can tell you, so you know how much Naira you should have in your bank accounts. You tell them how much you want to pay, you fill the form correctly. Please try to fill the form correctly. And then on the actual Form A, that form, the first form you fill is your instructions form, an instruction to tell the bank, okay, remove 8 million naira or remove 13,000 pounds at whatever rate they tell you from my account, from my GTB account. You put the account number and pay this school. You put the name of the school, you put the account number, and you put the sort code. And then on the Form A itself, you'd also fill it correctly. At the time, I think they will need the name of the bank that you're currently like filling the Form A with. They need a couple of details. It's pretty simple information that you should have, right? When you fill those forms, you then take it back to the bank or take it back to the whoever is in charge of like that payment at the branch you are in. Take it to him and tell him that you're done filling the forms. Before he collects the forms from you, it would ask you a couple of documents that you need to submit to him. The first is your invoice, the invoice that has been sent to you by the school. The second is your passport or a valid ID, but most preferably your passport. You would also need your bachelor's certificate, like to show that, oh, you finished maybe undergrad year in school. And you'd also need I can't remember correctly right now, but before the end of this video, I would in the last documents you would need. Once you give him all those documents, you would scan the document, especially if you gave him like hard copies. You would scan the documents, scan them with the forms that you have filled, and then send to your account officer. This is where your account officer comes to play, because they don't do it like at the branch where you submit, except your account officer works at that particular branch. Your account officer is the one that processes your Form A. Once you filled all those documents, submitted all the documents, it will scan and send to your account officer. But before you leave the bank, I would advise that you just pick up your phone, call your account officer and ask him if he has received the documents that have been sent to him, and if the documents are enough to make your Form A processing. Before you leave the bank, try to confirm, because sometimes your account officer would probably not maybe see what has been sent to him, and he might not take it as serious as you want it to be, right? Once he confirms that yes, he's received it, all your documents are complete and they are enough for the processing, then you're good to go. He does all the processing on his end. Try to follow up with him like, oh, what's up, what's the process now? Usually Form A processing takes about 7 to 14 working days. Like in my own case, I think it took about 7 working days or even lesser than that. It depends on the time. If you are making your payments at a peak period, it might take long. And if you're making your payment like normal, like maybe February, March, it might take like really short, like maybe 2 to 3 working days, and your payment has been made. One of the ways you know your payment has like left Nigeria is they will send you a Swift message on your email. Swift message are like messages to show that the payment has been made. It's like a receipt of transaction, something like that. And once that is done, they would debit you a 6,000 naira telex charge. Telex is like overseas charges, like the charge of paying naira for you to abroad, you know, the kind of thing. They'll charge you 6,000 naira. Before I go any further, I would like to mention that the last document that they would want to see is your admission letter. Once you're submitting your Form A to the bank, they would want to see your admission letter to the school in the UK, so they're sure like the purpose of the payment, because CBN would not want to pay for, you know, just anything. They want to be sure that it's actually for school, is actually a school fee payment. Anyway, I would also like to mention that on one Form A, you can only pay $15,000. So let's build a scenario. You want to pay $20,000 to a school in the US, or even if you're in the UK, you want to pay, say, 20,000 pounds to a school in the UK. And let's imagine that the equivalence of 20,000 pounds in dollars is about $24,000. And you want to, and that means on one single Form A, you can only make $15,000 payments. I would advise you that you take 2 Form A's. One form covers approximately $15,000, and the other form contains the leftover or the spillover, right? However, if at the point of collecting the Form A, they tell you that the exchange rate of pounds, for instance, is 570, and when you convert it, you see that, oh, about 14,000 pounds is about $15,000, and you need to put it on one form, I would advise that just put a bit lesser than 15,000 on one form. because by the time they want to make the payments, they use the exchange rate of the day they are making the payments and not the day you filled the form. So if, for instance, you filled or you collected the form and filled the form at the point where exchange rate is 570, and when CBN wants to make the payment for you, the exchange rate is now 575, for instance, and you already put exactly equivalence of $15,000 on one form, then eventually what they will pay to the UK is about 14,600. They will leave out like £400 because the exchange rate did not cover that part. I don't know if you get my point. So try to put on one form about $14,000, on another form you put the remaining on another form. However, they will charge you 2 telex charges. That's the way it works, because it's more or less they are making 2 payments for you. You get, so they'll probably charge you like close to 12,000 to 15,000 for those 2 different form A's. However, when I did my form or my payment, when I did my payments from Nigeria, I think they charged me another 6,000 naira. I can't remember exactly what for, but they charged me 6,000 naira almost 3 times. I remember I spent about 18,000 to 20,000 making 2 different form A payments from Nigeria. So just prepare like 20k for charges. However, they will pay at the bank rate. So I think that's like the good part of the FX payment from Nigeria. They pay the school at the bank rate, and it takes about 7 to 14 days depending on the period of the time when you make the payments. Once you get your telex, you can then send to your school and say, yo, you guys should have received payment by now. This is a receipt that my bank has sent me. And then your school can confirm, yes, we've received the payment or not. However, if you're coming specifically to Imperial, one of the things that you can do is to email International Student Support. They respond much faster than if you go to the Student Hub. Try to email them and say, I'm from Nigeria, I've made payments, and this is a receipt. And then they're able to update your CAS with the payments that you said has been sent. Maybe in another video, I'll talk about CAS and like visa processing. However, in this video, I just really wanted to, point out how to make FX payments from Nigeria without buying black market rates. But this payment is specifically for school fees. I don't think you can use it for any other thing except you're traveling, and you need PTA, that's a personal travel allowance. However, to make payments from Nigeria, for school fees, you can do it at your bank. They'll use the bank rate for you. It takes about 2 weeks, give or take, and you need a couple of documents that you should have, which are your invoice from the school, your bachelor's degree certificate, your admission letter from the school in the UK or wherever it is that you're going, and then your passport or your valid ID card. I hope this video helps someone out there and you don't have to buy black market rates if you're coming to the UK or to the US. Till I see you again in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.